Hi, in this video, we'll be going through how to run InfiniteTalk in Wan2GP. InfiniteTalk is a new model by the people that brought us MultiTalk, which has been so far my favorite avatar voice-to-video generation model. The innovations we get with InfiniteTalk is you can now provide an input video plus an audio, and it will basically redub the video so your output has the words being said with the movements from the original video. In Wan2GP, the video input is not implemented yet. I assume it will be implemented soon, but even without input video, you can still do input images plus audio and get an output that has more handed body movement that you'd get in MultiTalk, and it's, quote, infinite, meaning you can provide multiple images so that the output video doesn't degrade over time in the same way it could with MultiTalk if you wanted to create a long output video. So let's dive in. This video will assume that you know how to get Wan2GP running. If you don't, I will link to a separate tutorial video on that. I am running on an A40 in RunPod. So the first thing you're going to do is not to select the InfiniteTalk model. Instead, you're going to select the image to video 480p Fusion IX 14 billion parameter model. We're just going to kick off a short video generation with this model because I'm lazy and we want to get the Fusion IX LoRa, and this is kind of the laziest way to do it. So drag in an image and generate a image to video that you wanted to generate anyway, or just start a generation and click abort once the LoRa is downloaded. Once you've kicked that off, you can go explore your files, and you'll see in the LoRa's I2V file, you should have a WAN 2.1 image to video Fusion IX LoRa file. That is what you want. That is why we went through that initial step. With the LoRa, the generation with InfiniteTalk took me 10x less time, and the quality was much better. So I wouldn't do InfiniteTalk without the LoRa for right now. Great, now we're ready to generate our first InfiniteTalk video. Go to the InfiniteTalk single speaker model, and then you're going to drag in an image. We're going to do one person speaking only. Going to drag in our audio. It's good to not have background sounds and have a clear audio with one speaker, and then put in a prompt. It can be quite simple, like the woman reads loud. We're doing 480p. Change our dimensions to what you want. We have a 9:16 image, so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to do 6 × 25 for our frame number, so we have 150 frames. And then, because we're using that LoRa, we can drop our inference steps way down to 8 from 30. And then we're going to go in advanced mode. I'm going to set a seed that we remember, 42. We're going to go check the repo of InfiniteTalk and see what they recommend for the settings when using the LoRa, and that was my starting point here. So we see that they have suggested text guide scale, audio guide scale, sample steps, and sample shift, and we're going to use those. So guidance of 1, shift of 2. We're going to select the Unique PC Solver Scheduler, and audio guidance of 2. Feel free to go a little higher on this if you want sharper lip syncing. And that's guidance 1, shift scale 2, audio 2, and then in our LoRa's tab, we'll see that the LoRa we downloaded is there as an option. We want to select that and do a 1.0 multiplier. If you leave it blank, it will do 1.0, but make sure you actually select the LoRa. Then we're going to do some step skipping with Tcache. You can select NAD cache as well. I wanted to keep it consistent with some other tests I'd done, so I chose Tcache. And then we have basically selected all of our options that we need to do. And then click Generate. And here I'll show you the results of the generation, first without the LoRa, then with the LoRa, and then a comparison against MultiTalk.
All happy families resemble one another. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. All happy families resemble one another. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. All happy families resemble one another. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way.
I think it's interesting how we got the page flipping with the InfiniteTalk versions, probably related to the increased body movement that happens with that model. The results with the LoRa also seemed much more natural to me, and compared against multi-talk, I don't actually think this generation shows much superior output from InfiniteTalk. So let's try to actually use the infinite type feature and generate a longer video using multiple images. To do that, we're going to have to make a couple configuration changes from what we did in the first generation. So you'll want to come over to the configuration tab in the app, then scroll down and you will see an option to increase the max number of frames. Select 2x or 3x that, and then make sure you click apply. I almost didn't there. And then you want to restart the app. You really have to restart the app for it to take effect. If you're using the RunPod template I created, you can kill the process and the process will restart, or you can stop the pod and restart it. But keep in mind, if you stop the pod, you risk losing your GPUs, and then you just have a CPU-only machine until GPUs become available. While the app is restarting, I wanted to show you why we are going to use multiple images. Over in the InfiniteTalk GitHub repo, there's an issue where they discuss how the quality degrades over time when you're using a single image, and the way to counterbalance that is to use multiple images, and they've actually provided a script where you can take an image and it creates a collection of images from different perspectives and then strings them together as a video, which is really just one still image after the other, and then use that as your input to generate your video. The input feature of video in Wan2GP is not available yet, but we do have the ability to set multiple images and it will have a similar effect. I also think that the example video they provided here is really amazing. The beer even moves on the piano in a convincing way, and the singing is matched to the different angles of the photos that were provided above. So to do something similar in Wan2GP, we have to click on that each image will start a new clip section and then select multiple images. And then these will be used to generate the video output. And then now that we've set a larger limit on our max frames, we can increase the frames to 1,000 frames, which is 40 seconds. You could try going even longer. I don't actually recommend doing these long shots all at once. I ran out of RAM trying to get the 40 seconds generated, not VRAM, actual RAM, and could not generate quite the full 40 seconds. And this was on an A40 with 48 gigs of RAM. I was able to generate 34 seconds before it died out. And this is what it looks like cycling through those multiple reference images to start the video.
Get your vision on the go with AI. Open source AI magic runs on just 6 gigs of RAM. Light on your GPU from RTX 10XX to 20XX. Low on 2.1 flux, LTX and more easy. Mass editor, prompt enhancer, web tools that shine. Cue your batch and watch your visions align.
If I were to generate it again, I would probably up the audio guidance to get better lip syncing and use more images so there's more variety. But frankly, I don't think I would try to do such a long video all at once again, because again, you max out your RAM and you don't get to iterate. One thing I have been super impressed with the InfiniteTalk model with is generating videos from characters that are non-human and might have a mouth that is hard to detect. Here's an example just for fun.
Moving day's exhausting, but I'm really afraid that puppy's gonna eat me. Rusty, stay away!
Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and thanks for watching.